You're such a bad person. Are you not just as bad for listening to what a bad woman like me says? And by the way, what's your problem with Olivia? It's fine. Because I don't see her as a woman anymore. My husband, Liam, and my own sister, Emma. We've definitely met before. But as soon as they were left alone together, this happened. Something inside me started boiling and simmering from the bottom of my stomach. The three of us went to the botanical garden, leaving Liam and Emma behind. It was a perfect day for a drive. As we entered the main road, "Oh, there's something I want to tell," she said. "What's wrong?" "Mom, I made sure to lock the door." At that moment, both Apollo and I froze. What she was referring to was the entrance to the basement, where the two of them should be. My name is Olivia Brown, a 35-year-old housewife. I currently live with my husband, Liam, who is 2 years older than me, and our 8-year-old daughter, Mia. Sometimes I think it wouldn't hurt to have another child. But there were 2 reasons why it ended up being just Mia. One reason is that I myself never dreamed of having siblings. I have one older sister. Even to an outsider, it was clear that our parents favored her more. I didn't like the fact that our parents favored my sister so much, nor did I like myself for hating her. So I was afraid of having a sibling for Mia. My sister, Emma, has always been beautiful from the eyes of a younger sister like me. Bright colors suited her, with big eyes and distinct features. She always had a smile on her face and was good at being spoiled. On the other hand, I have double eyelids, but they're not as prominent. My jet black coarse hair can't be styled in any way and always gave my mother a hard time. "Oh, Olivia, your hair is just not worth making cute." I hated hearing my mother sigh like that. After attending a university in the city, I got married and started working, all because I wanted to get away from my parents. And also from my sister, who was favored by my parents. But then, Emma returned home. I found out about it through a phone call from my mother. "What's wrong? This is unusual." "Well, you see, Emma has come back again." "Again?" "Yes, again. Emma has been married twice before now. The first time was right after graduating from college. To put it bluntly, it was a shotgun wedding. They now call it a blessed pregnancy, but back then Emma's situation was clearly more of a what can you do, it happened kind of thing. Her partner, Smith, was 5 years older than her. They met through a group blind date, and Emma, being proactive, pushed until they got married before she started working, as she found out she was pregnant. Smith was considered a good marriage partner by both sets of parents at the time. Their parents thought they got a beautiful daughter-in-law. However, Emma reveals her true nature quickly. Within less than 5 years, Emma, who had been getting her parents to buy her anything, continued her extravagant habits there. Emma had been using up the savings that she had set aside for her future home, causing Smith to lose trust in her and ask for a divorce. However, at that time, their son, Apollo, was still small, so custody went to Emma. Smith was incredibly frustrated by this. But she had a pretty long relationship with the next husband. "What do you mean?" "Well, you see, she cheated on him." Her mother's voice was heavy. Just a year after divorcing Smith, Emma quickly found a new partner and remarried. It was significant that Emma was in her 20s at the time. A beautiful woman in her 20s with a child from a failed marriage. Her next partner was the manager at her part-time job. Her appearance and charm were still quite influential. And with their marriage, she quit her part-time job out of concern for appearances. This time, I told her to stop overspending, but indeed, her tendency to overspend had somewhat calmed down. The most significant factor was that her next partner earned less income than Smith. However, this man had lost his parents early on and inherited their house. That must have been what Emma was after. There was no need to spend the income on a home. But maybe she thought that if she did that this time, she would lose her host. But you know, while Apollo was still in elementary school, things were fine. While he was in elementary school? You should understand, being a mother and all. The relationships between mothers, you know. I nodded emphatically. Indeed, my busy social life left me with no free time. But when Apollo entered junior high, those relationships disappeared, and she became bored. Bored? And that led to cheating? Well, you know, whenever Emma chooses a partner, they're always good as a spouse, but when it comes to being attractive as a man. I was appalled. Is this what a mother is supposed to say? And so now, Emma and Apollo are living here with us. So she covers the expenses. It was as sweet as ever. And that's why Olivia said she wants to come over and play at your place from time to time. What? You've got to be kidding. Why should I have to be her companion now? Why are you saying that? She's your only sister, you know? Ah, here we go again. You've always been a cold child. Emma said so too. You rarely come back home. That's true. Why would I need to come back to an uncomfortable home? But please, Apollo doesn't look comfortable either, always transferring schools. When she mentioned that, I was at a loss for words. My nephew, Apollo, was truly a good kid. In the end, the two of them started coming to our home from time to time. We are currently living in the same neighboring county as our hometown for some strange reason. Moreover, it's a place that is less than an hour's drive away. This sister named Emma was the first reason why I no longer had dreams of having siblings and lost the desire to have multiple children. Another reason was that our relationship as a couple became sexless after my pregnancy and childbirth. The trigger was the job transfer and move. When we got married, we were living in a place near the city center. But around the time I finished going through pregnancy and childbirth, we suddenly received a job transfer notice. We ended up going to a relatively large provincial city. However, it was there that Liam suddenly said, "The land is cheap here. Let's build a house here." What Liam chose was a place on the eastern end of the county. As expected, I ended up living an hour's drive away from my parents' house on the western edge of the neighboring county. And the house itself was a little different. Well, in appearance, it was a square house like the typical newly built houses nowadays. However, Liam made a basement in this house. You know, I've always wanted an art studio. That was news to me. Well, I knew he was knowledgeable about art. He was the one who chose a museum for our pre-marriage dates. But I didn't think he would be the one to paint. Oh, did I not mention it before? I was in the art club in high school, and I wanted to go to an art university if possible. However, it seemed that it was impossible for Liam's family to afford the expensive entrance exam fees and costs of attending an art university. That had been a regret for him for a long time. He had always wanted a studio when we built our own house, he said. But why in the basement? I need stable lighting from above facing north. As a result, a semi-basement in the form of a raised ground floor was created. The studio was placed in a location with windows for natural light. However, as the studio turned out to be too spacious alone, I decided to use half of the room immediately after going down the stairs as a warehouse. I heard that in this area we moved to, there was always the possibility of a major earthquake. Therefore, it is normal for every house to be earthquake resistant and equipped with emergency supplies. As soon as I finished moving, I also prepared various things and put them there. In addition, I also used it as a storage space for outdoor equipment that I used occasionally and for making fruit liqueur and pickles, which were my hobbies. The inner door of the studio is a sturdy door with locks from both the outside and the inside. Once locked from the inside, it became Liam's dream place. On the other hand, the entrance to the warehouse has a simple, really simple latch. Since the inner door was solid, I didn't put much emphasis on the warehouse door. In the midst of all this, Liam started spending all his free time in the basement. Hey, Mom, Dad doesn't play with me much since we moved here. I couldn't help but sigh at Mia's lonely words. At first, it was still okay since it was newly built. But gradually, he started bringing in a small refrigerator, spare futon, and a tablet device. Often, the day before his day off, he would stay overnight in the basement and rarely come out except for the toilet and bath on the ground floor. Hey, why don't you take Mia to an amusement park once in a while? Are you trying to take away my only source of enjoyment? I can continue working every day because I can refresh myself like this. We started arguing more often, and our life as a married couple decreased. I lived with Mia on the upper floor. Originally, the bedroom had 2 semi-double beds, but one of them was often unused. I often slept with Mia. During this period, Emma started coming to my place more often. And she would bring Apollo along. We can be a bit noisy at home, and your place is spacious. Apollo can study there, right? So, leaving Apollo behind, they went somewhere to have fun. Apollo diligently did his homework and review, and kept Mia company while waiting for his mother to come back. One day, Emma noticed our basement. Oh, what's this? It's Liam's studio. If you go in, he'll get mad, so you shouldn't. Oh, I see. A studio. Liam draws pictures? Well, that's all Emma said at the time. But on that day, Emma stayed longer than usual, until nightfall. And during dinner, she brought up the topic. So, Liam, you draw pictures? Yes. I'm embarrassed to admit it. That's not true at all. It's a wonderful hobby. Well, I don't get much approval from my family. Oh, dear. But art is something that's not easily understood by ordinary people. Emma's sweet words gave me an unpleasant feeling. Like landscape paintings? At the moment, yes. Mostly landscapes and still life. But I used to enjoy drawing portraits in high school. Oh, portraits. Emma's eyes widened. In that case, how about me being your model? Huh? Are you sure about that? I've always wanted you to draw a picture of me. But, Emma, aren't you in the middle of job hunting? Yes, for now, she's driving during the day under the pretext of job hunting. What are you talking about? Even if I'm job hunting, I still have free time, don't I? That's right, and if it's on the weekend, I'll be free too. Besides, Olivia, you don't even know about model fees, do you? So considering that, it's really nice to have someone close offer. Then what about the upcoming picnic, Dad? Yes, the following weekend, we were planning to go on a picnic to a nearby botanical garden and zoo. Then Apollo chimed in. Hey, Mia, would you mind if I came along? Are you going with me? Yeah, I've wanted to go to this botanical garden and zoo for a while too. Well, that's true. Olivia, Liam will come with me. You can go with Apollo. Emma said that to me with a smirk. This woman has set her sights on my husband. Just like before. Well then, should we have a meeting right now? Yes, let's do that. And without finishing dinner, the two of them went downstairs. Left behind, we continued eating with the leftover plates from the two of them. Olivia, sorry about my mom. Apollo said to me with a sad look. Apollo, you don't have to say that. Besides, she's just a model. Is that so? He gave a smile that didn't match his age. And after a while, as he helped with the dishes, he stood next to me. Thank you, it helps. No problem, I'm used to it. He took on the role of wiping and placing the washed dishes on the shelf. But even while performing that action, it seemed like he wanted to say something to me. What's wrong? Olivia, actually. As I said that, Apollo's expression was somewhat desperate. Do you have something you want to tell me? I whispered. I see, this child must have decided to help me by occupying the space next to me to hide the topic he doesn't want Mia to hear. My mom always lures men like that. Apollo, did you know? Yes. Because just recently, she kicked me out of the house and cheated on my dad. My spine shivered. Is that so? Yes, until recently, my stepdad was very diligent in his work and treated me like a real son. But he often worked until late at night, and my mom took advantage of that to bring in men she met somewhere. So I took photos and recorded their voices to let my stepdad know. As Apollo said that, he bit his lip. Thinking that an amazing person like him. I couldn't help but feel frustrated. I clutched the cloth I had tightly. Then, my stepdad actually appreciated it and went through with the divorce proceedings. So, are you the reason for the divorce, Apollo? Yes. It's really unfortunate for my stepdad to be deceived by such a mother. He didn't tell me that I was the source of evidence. But since he couldn't take me in, he asked me at least not to worsen the situation. Is that so? So why are you telling me this now, Apollo-kun? What do you want me to do? I think it would be good for you to go check downstairs soon. I understand, I replied. And then, 2 hours passed. Apollo had been playing games with Mia to pass the time. I love my big brother. This well-behaved child was good at handling Mia as well. In between games, he searched on the tablet about the botanical garden, what was here, what he wanted to see, and excited Mia. While the two of them were joyfully playing around like that, I quietly went down to the basement. The door to the storage room was left open, both the entrance and the back. I entered the warehouse without making a sound or turning on the lights, and went in until I reached a blind spot where I could see the back. And in my field of view, I saw Emma sitting on the still life stand for drawing, hugging Liam. Even from afar, I could tell that Emma's blouse buttons were undone. You're a bad person. Aren't you the same for listening to what a bad woman says? And what about Olivia? She's fine. Besides, I can't think of that person as a woman anymore. Saying that, they both laughed softly, and then there were sounds that were unbearable to hear. Certainly, this wasn't their first encounter. And as soon as they were alone together, this is what happened. I felt a boiling sensation deep down in my stomach. But at that moment, I didn't immediately burst in and shout at them. The phrase model for a painting is convenient. Even though she was dressed like that, Emma probably had a calm face and would say something like, "There's also such a thing as being a nude model, right?" That would be the punchline. Liam would probably defend her by saying something like, "To understand the lines of the body." It had to be something more decisive. Once again, I quietly left without making a sound and went outside, up the stairs. When Apollo saw me coming back, he simply told me, as I said, "Right? What will you do, Olivia?" In a calm and mature tone, Apollo asked me again. "I have an idea." "I see. Then, I'll brace myself too." And the weekend arrived. On Saturday, the sky was clear, with warmer weather than expected. I thought I could have a picnic on the lawn at the botanical garden. So, I was searching for outdoor supplies with Mia in the warehouse. By that time, the door at the back was already closed. Emma, who brought Apollo, quickly went into Liam's studio and closed the door. We don't know what is happening behind that door right now. What do we need? A sheet and, If the wind gets stronger, we should also bring a pop-up tent. Don't forget to include stakes and ropes so it won't fly away. Olivia, is the tent okay? Let's check at the entrance. While having that conversation, we started moving things out. Since both Apollo and I had our hands full, we left the door open. Then, the three of us got in the car and started driving. It was a perfect day for a drive. As we got on the main road, Mia suddenly said, "Oh, that reminds me." "What is it?" "I locked the door, Mom." "What do you mean?" "Because you and your brother had your hands full. It wouldn't be good to leave it open when we go out, right?" At that moment, I and Apollo probably froze. While Mia knew about the studio's existence, she didn't really understand what it was. The studio has always been off-limits, with Liam telling me not to touch anything or clean it. That's why during the day, he keeps the inner door locked. But today... "Hey, Mia, why did you lock the door?" Apollo asked Mia. "Well, because the door in the back, which is usually tightly closed, was shaking." "Hey, Mom, aren't you supposed to always lock the back door?" "But I don't know where the key is. So, I thought I could lock it from the outside." "Oh, I see. The door at the back has a proper lock. But the one on the outside is just a latch. So, even Mia could lock it." "I see, I understand now." I could imagine the situation and felt a smile forming on my face. Then, I said to Mia, "Hey, Mia, after this, let's go and visit your grandpa and grandma on your dad's side." "Really? Is it okay?" "This is the default route. I even have plans to go to my in-laws' house. It's been a while and we can spend the night there." I added that. And the next evening. It happened when the three of us were having dinner at my in-laws' house, a 2-hour drive from the botanical garden, and enjoying the meal and talking over tea. The classic telephone tone rang. "Oh, that's mine. And the police? What's up?" "Olivia, put it on speakerphone." I switched to speakerphone and picked up the call. "Hello. Excuse me, this is the county police. May I confirm that I have reached Ms. Olivia Brown's mobile phone?" "Yes, this is Olivia Brown." There's a lot of noise in the background of the person claiming to be the police. There's also the sound of a siren, like an ambulance. Is something happening?" "Oh, yes. Actually, there have been reports from local residents that they hear the sound of breaking glass and a foul smell coming from the basement in your area." "What?" I exclaimed in surprise. "What the hell happened? I heard that Liam was going to stay there tonight." "Well, yes, but what's going on?" I said to my in-laws. My in-laws are really kind people, and they love their rarely seen granddaughter, Mia, very much. The only thing they complain to me about over the phone is their son, who suddenly built a home far away. Honestly, compared to my own parents, they're much more decent people. They even welcome my nephew, Apollo, with open arms. I asked the police. So, what exactly happened? Well, it seems that Mr. Liam Brown was the one who broke the window. Oh, could you explain a bit more? I'll explain the details as we go along. Should we play games over there? Yeah. Apollo, who understood the situation, took Mia away from there. Indeed, Liam's situation was not something I wanted Mia to hear. And then the police started explaining to us. A neighbor who was returning from shopping heard the sound of breaking glass and looked into our house. Although hesitant, the neighbor decided to enter the yard as someone who communicates with him through the newsletter and tried to find out which window was broken. And it turned out to be the basement window, which we usually don't pay attention to. Panicking, the neighbor peeked through the broken window and saw a terrible smell, as well as a naked man and woman huddled up in pain, wrapped in blankets and sheets. The neighbor immediately called the police. And it turned out that the naked man was Liam. At the sound of this, my in-laws' expressions twisted in shock. What the hell is he doing? Ignoring my father-in-law's anger, the police continued the explanation. Oh, by the way, it seems like there is also the sound of an ambulance, right? Yes, when we approached the scene, Liam asked us to help him because he was trapped and injured, so we called for an ambulance and rescue. That was quite a big deal. My in-laws' sighs became deeper and deeper. Since the front door was locked for security reasons, we removed one window and sent the team inside to rescue the two individuals. Thank you. But what do you mean by injured? Liam tried to go out through the window because the door was locked, and he fell from the stand, hurting his back. My in-laws froze, fully opening their mouths as though their jaws would drop. At that moment, I asked another important question. Is the other woman by any chance named Emma Johnson? She's my sister. Oh, your older sister, huh? The police's voice seemed somewhat hesitant. What happened? Well, there was a person claiming to be her. We contacted your family as well, but it turns out she was the cause of the foul smell. What? From yesterday, there were a lot of beer cans scattered around, and this woman seemed to have a stomachache when she took her clothes off, and there was a lot of excrement scattered in the basement area. Huh? It seems that she tried to wash her body at least, so she flushed it with the stored drinking water in the warehouse. And then, it spread all over the floor and even soaked into the clothes that were placed there, both for the two of them. The mention of the clothes made my parents-in-law's faces twitch. So, where is my husband now, in which hospital? Oh, yes. The police provided the name and address of the hospital and hung up the phone. Even I couldn't quite comprehend the situation when it reached this point. No, I had realized that I had trapped them. That's why I thought that solid evidence of infidelity would definitely emerge there, and both Apollo and I believed that the atelier would be thoroughly searched later. But this was unexpected. Indeed, if the door was locked, one couldn't go to the bathroom. And on top of that, it turned into such a big event. The police, ambulance, and even rescue team arrived. Olivia, hold yourself together! Apollo realized that the phone call had ended, and he jumped in and shook me. Then he quickly looked at my parents-in-law seriously. I'm really sorry about my mother. Yes, I had to respond to his ad-lib properly. Apollo, did you hear what I said? I heard a name, Emma Johnson. I'm sorry, but that's my mother. My mother was targeting Uncle. What? You said you were told she was going to be a model, but the Real was. I raised my voice intentionally. Yes, she used me to lure the two of you out. I can't believe it. I'm really sorry, Olivia. No, a child shouldn't apologize for something like that. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, I'm sorry, but could you go to Liam's place? Well, yeah. We have to hear the situation properly, yeah, that's right. But Olivia, what are you going to do? I'm sorry, I don't know what to do right now. I'm so agitated that I might cause an accident even if I drive. Yeah, I see. Well, let's go and check the situation ourselves. Thank you very much. I exchanged hugs with two of them. After they left, it goes without saying that Apollo and I firmly shook hands with each other. And then, 2 weeks later, my lawyer reported that things seemed to be going well. Yes, while still staying at my parents-in-law's house, I had taken the next step. first, I called the neighbor who was the first to discover them and asked for detailed information about the rescue. She was a friendly person who was good at spreading gossip that she saw and heard right away. I had been careful to maintain a good relationship with her so that I wouldn't be subjected to bad rumors, but it was useful in a situation like this. Well, all of a sudden, there were patrol cars, firefighters, and ambulances in the residential area, It was crowded with onlookers. And, well, your husband. Well, how do I put it? I encouraged her to continue the conversation. But that other woman. Her odor was surprisingly strong. I wonder what she ate to have such a smelly thing. And when I revealed that that woman was my sister. Well, that's what it means. In other words, the wife's sister stole her husband. Her voice was full of excitement. So I responded to her with a voice that sounded like I was trying my best to stay strong. That seems to be the case, I said. While saying I feel sorry for you, the neighbor couldn't hide her excitement. Thanks to this first witness, it became clear that there were many witnesses to confirm that it was indeed an affair. The neighbors had already witnessed this disgraceful act. With my words, it will immediately spread who was the other woman. I was looking for a lawyer who would handle my divorce and obtain favorable conditions for a restraining order against Emma. At that time, I didn't want to see Liam's face. So I thought I would end everything through the lawyer. When Mia asked, "Can't we go home?" I explained, "A burglar entered our house." Well, it's actually true. The burglar, took Dad away. Mia tilted her head with a puzzled expression. This young child must have lost all expectations and familiarity towards Dad, who no longer played with her. On the other hand, I kept receiving relentless calls from Liam. Of course, I ignored all of them and recorded a voicemail message. It seems that he broke his back in the fall and will be hospitalized for a while. According to my in-laws, not only Emma but also Liam had a terrible smell. My goodness, even though he's my own children, I am disgusted. She was deeply angry, and she gave him a lecture at the hospital. My father-in-law was also disgusted and said he would sever ties with them. As a venting of their anger, the two of them left one voicemail message after another. Hey, what's wrong? I'm injured. Why aren't you showing your face? Didn't you lock us up? A lawyer came. Is it for divorce? I definitely won't agree. Huh? Mia locked the door? No way. Hey, why is there a video circulating on the internet? Did you do something? Okay, I'll accept the divorce. But isn't this amount of compensation too much? Please, even if we sell this house, no one wants it because the basement is in terrible condition. Please reduce the compensation. Please, just answer the phone once. Towards the end, his voice was already tearful. By the way, I also receive phone calls from Emma. However, since her words don't make sense anything anymore, as soon as I know it's her, I mute the volume. I can't let Mia hear such abusive language. On the other hand, Apollo contacted his biological father. Mom never told me Dad's phone number, but I got it from Grandma's landline. She said to contact him in case of emergency. In case of emergency? Yeah. Grandma was apparently resentful that Mom couldn't get custody. At that time, there wasn't enough evidence, so I ended up going with Mom. I see. But, with this situation, I think they'll consider that Mom no longer qualifies as a parent. I want it to be that way. Apollo said with determination. It was Mom who decided my name, and I've been teased a lot. Is that so? If starting with I preferred Andrew or something. What, are you going to go to space? I've transferred schools twice, and both times I had the same reaction. I couldn't help but sympathize with Apollo. It's not quite a flashy name, but it's a name that can be made fun of for a transfer student. It used to be famous as a mythology, but now that's probably more prevalent. My father objected to it too, so even with just that, I've always wanted to follow my father. I see. So thank you, Olivia. Thank you for giving me a chance. No, it's the other way around. Your mother has always been someone who likes to take things that are mine. Oh, really? Apollo looked up at the sky. But it's not things, it's people. It's not good to get caught up in that either. At least, because you have a proper family, even if you're invited, you have to refuse. If you can't do it, then that person is not good for you. So, I told Apollo. We've both cut off ties with things that aren't good, and it feels refreshing. Now, let's talk about the two of us after that. My divorce was finalized. I successfully obtained custody of Mia, and it was decided that my ex-husband would pay me child support, alimony, and division of property. Although I decided to sell our dream house to cover the costs, it seems like the way the incident occurred in the house and the state of the basement made it difficult to sell at a good price. That's why people say you're stupid. Places like an art studio or study should be created after the kids have grown up. That's what my father-in-law said before cutting ties with Liam. As for my mother-in-law, she went along with her husband, expressing her exasperation at our son complaining that Mia closed the door and locked it. Both of them want to see their grandchild. Since I have been greatly indebted to them, I intend to continue to maintain a relationship with them. On the other hand, Emma and my parents were furious when I demanded alimony from them. But my lawyer said, by the way, Olivia has already gone through the procedure to renounce the inheritance. It seems she wants to cut off all ties with you. If you do anything foolish, she will obtain a restraining order against you. Then, Emma did the unthinkable thing. She attacked my lawyer by grabbing a nearby flower vase. As a result, she was sued for assault by my lawyer and Emma ended up in jail for a short period of time. Furthermore, my parents have no choice but to sell their house in order to pay the additional alimony. This is the consequence of spoiling them. Oh well. Bye, Mom. I'm off. I'm off too. After that, I moved to a slightly more distant place, far away from my parents' house and the house I used to live in. Good morning. When I arrived at work and greeted everyone, the current employer replied, "Good morning. Have a great day." It was Mr. Smith, the father of Apollo. Currently, I work as an office worker for the company managed by this person. It's not a big company, but it's an honest and down-to-earth company rooted in the local community. During my days off, Mia often invites me to visit Apollo's house, where he returns to his father. The Smith family also welcomes us. They say that Apollo is the reason why Mia returned home. These people are also incredibly nice compared to my parents. Finally, the days with peaceful and reliable people have arrived. From now on, I will do my best to live brightly and happily for Mia's sake.